Hello mathematicians, I'm going to do a quick review of some of the problems in chapter 7.2. So question 12 says y equals x plus 4. So the first thing you need to do is make a little table with x and y. And the easiest number to plug in is always 0. So y equals x plus 4, but I'm going to plug in 0 for x. So I get y equals 0 plus 4. So y just equals 4. Next easiest value is probably 1. So if I plug in y equals x plus 4, I plug in 1 for x. 1 plus 4 equals 5. And finally, if I want to try 2, then I do y equals x plus 4. I plug in 2 for x. That equals 6. So all these questions are asking you to do is come up with your own value for x, whatever seems easiest to you, plug it in where you see x, and then solve what comes out when you substitute for x. Alright, so question 20 says 3x minus y equals 10. Once again, we need to draw a table for x and y, and we're going to plug in some values for x. The easiest number to plug in for x is always going to be 0. So if I put in 0 where I see x, I get 3 times 0 minus y equals 10. 3 times 0 just goes away, and I get negative y equals 10. But I want to know what positive y is. So if I flip this negative sign, I also have to flip the sign on this side. There's an invisible positive there. Because if we say 10, what we actually mean is positive 10. So if I flip this sign in front of the y to be positive, I have to flip the other sign to be negative. And I get y equals negative 10. The next number I'm going to try is the number 1. So I'm going to plug in a 1 for x. 3 times 1 minus y equals 10. Well, 3 times 1 is just 3. So how do I get rid of that 3? I have to subtract it from both sides. Those cancel each other out, and I'm left with negative y equals 7. And if I flip this sign, I have to flip the invisible All right, so question 32 says y equals 3x minus 4. And this time we're actually going to try graphing it. But first, we need to find some x and y values to plot. As usual, we're going to start with x equals 0. If I plug in x equals 0, I get 3 times 0 minus 4. Well, 3 times 0 is just 0, so I'm left with negative 4. The next one I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in 1 for x. So I get 3 times 1 is just 3 minus 4 equals negative 1. The next one I'm going to try is 2. 3 times 2 minus 4 is 6 minus 4 equals 2. And the last one I'm going to try is negative 2. So 3 times negative 2 minus 4. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6 minus 4. And if I start at negative 6 and I go 4 more in the negative direction, I'm going to end up at negative 10. So if I plug in negative 2 for x, I get negative 10 for y. Alright, so now I'm going to graph it. I just drew a little x and y axis. Over here I have the positive x. On the opposite side I have negative x. If I go up, I'm going positive y. If I go down, I'm going negative y. So how do I draw this? I am going to look at my table over here, and I'm going to start with 0, negative 4. If x is 0, that means I don't have to go left or right at all. And y is negative 4, which means down, so I go 1, 2, 3, 4. There's my first point. My second point, I'm going to go over 1 and down 1, so there's my second point right there. My third point, I'm going to go over 2 and then up 2, so there's my third point. And my last point there is negative 2, so I got to go left 2 towards the negative x, and then down 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then I take a ruler and I connect all my dots. And unfortunately my squiggly x and y don't make it line up properly. But if you do this on a piece of graph paper, you'll be able to join them up perfectly with a ruler. I hope this helps.